Welcome back. Now, in this episode, I'm going to answer your question, how to find hidden real estate bargains. Now, I cover a lot of different communities and a lot of different places to do it. I've been involved in real estate for a lot of years. It's a business that's been around for a long time. So if you want some hidden bargains in real estate, well, I'm going to take you on a step-by-step process, and I'm going to show you about that. So the United States is basically loaded with all kinds of real estate bargains. Now, how can I say that? Well, look at the rest of the slide. What does it say? One man's trash is another man's treasure. Well, that's for sure. So some people just don't want the real estate anymore and they walk away. Other people get sick and they lose their jobs and things like that. They end up in foreclosure. But the point is, there's going to be a ton of bargain real estate out there. So I've spent the majority of my life being involved in this kind of real estate. So here's what I will tell you. If you're willing to put a little time into research, you'll be able to find all the hidden bargains that you want. The marketplace is absolutely filled with those. And I'll show you different areas. All right, now, the market as a whole, if there's a lot of money in the market circulating, by that is, if the banks are lending and the Federal Reserve is easy with the money, everybody's making money, they're going to do a lot of real estate deals out there. So that means the real estate market will boom and it will go up. Now, as soon as the federal government starts slowing the money flow down, well, that really slows the real estate market down. And when it slows down, then people aren't able to sell their property quickly. And if they can't sell quickly sometime, they can't make the payments because they're not working or whatever. And so that causes everything from foreclosure to tax auctions to whatever. So properties will go into default. Divorce causes that. People getting sick causes that. Economies change, like the steel industry or the automobile industry shuts down. A lot of foreclosures, things like that. All right, so there's going to be a lot of reasons for the market to go up and down. Or you could think about the tide. It goes out, it goes in. All right, so that's going to happen continuously. So all my adult life, I've been involved in doing something in real estate. So if you're willing to research a little bit, you find all the hidden bargains that you ever dreamed about. Okay, so what I'm talking about today is how to find hidden real estate bargains. Now, there's going to be plenty of them. The economy is always going to be changing. Tide goes out, tide comes in. So let's learn about these hidden bargains, all right? Now, in many cases, there's going to be foreclosures. So I won't go through all the reasons for those foreclosures, but I can tell you, if you live in a county that has a very low population, well, they're going to have foreclosure auctions on the courthouse steps or at the county offices. They're going to have one or two of those every week. Usually that's the bank trying to recover the collateral. The collateral was the house. So they're trying to recover their collateral so they can recycle it and sell it. Someone hasn't paid it. In other words, whoever signed the mortgage or the deed or trust as a promissory note, and what they haven't done is they haven't met their commitments. So now the bank's trying to get it back. Now, if you're in a county that has a large population, well, then you can start thinking about having foreclosures 3 to 5 auctions a day. So there's hundreds and hundreds of these foreclosures. Now, why am I telling you that? Well, there's a lot of hidden bargains here. Why? Because when these properties are sold at foreclosure auctions, they're selling usually for the mortgage that's on the property. So let's say the mortgage on the property was $60,000. Well, and it was a $100,000 property. The starting bid is $60,000. Well, that means that's almost a 40% discount. Now, all kinds of properties are going to auction. I mean, all kinds of properties. There's going to be regular buildings going for auction. There's going to be farms going for auction. There's going to be houses, all kinds of things. But what you want is you want the hidden bargain. So start watching those foreclosure auctions, okay? There will be hundreds of those foreclosures. Nationwide, it'll be in the hundreds of thousands in the course of every single year. But that's not the only place. But let's think about the discounts first. The discounts could be 20%, 30%. I've seen up to 40% discount. Well, if you can buy a property, that's a bargain. Let me tell you, if you can get it 40%, you didn't steal it, but you got a property at an excellent value because you went to the foreclosure auction. Now, is there other kind of auctions? Sure, there's other kind. Could HUD have auctions? HUD? Absolutely. My point is, there's going to be a lot of these. So you could actually go to the Department of Agriculture, and they would have a list of properties like small farms and things like that that they're foreclosing on. So let's say that you could buy that farm over there, and it had a value of $300,000. but you can get it for 60% of value. Well, take a look. $180,000 is pretty cheap for that property. That's a hidden bargain people haven't thought about. Now, we have to go out and get the money somewhere? Yes. But there's all kinds of sources like this. So there's the regular foreclosure market. There's regular HUD. HUD will probably do 30 to 50,000 properties every year. Now, why would you want to talk to Housing and Urban Development? That's HUD. Why? Because they could provide financing. Think about that. Now we got Department of Agriculture. What about the Department of Veterans Affairs? There's 3 government agencies right there that probably have 100,000 properties this year. Well, they're not steals. You're not going to steal it. But if you can get a property for 20, 30, 40% discount, you're doing pretty darn good. So think about what we're talking about. Also think about where you're going to get the loan. Now, HUD's been doing this since before I was born. The Congress of the United States created HUD just to help people with financing. So you might be a person with a good job, but you don't have a good FICO score, okay? So the banks are looking at your credit score and saying, no, we won't handle you. Well, maybe you go look at HUD. Maybe you think about buying one of their houses, especially if they would give you financing. Now, look, I was very lucky. I was involved in the foreclosure business for many, many years. So that meant I was out trying to buy property all the time. And there's a lot of stubborn buyers out there, even though they're going to foreclosure in 2 days, they didn't want to bargain. Well, I lucked out and had some people take me to an auction, but it was not a government auction or a bank auction. Turned out it was a county auction. And I said, I never heard of the county selling property. Well, I heard about it very quickly because in all 3,000 counties, the local county ends up owning property that people didn't pay tax on. Well, if the county owns it, I can tell you right now, they don't want it. So I discovered tax deed sales and tax lien sales. Now, tax deed sales, they sell for the back taxes starting bid. I didn't say they sold for 60 or 70% of value. I said they sold for the back taxes. Well, when I learned that, I knew that there was going to be a gold mine out there. So I've been in business a long time. About 30 years ago, I discovered that all of the counties in the United States, all 3,000 of them, will sell tax defaulted property, and they sell them at 60, 70, and 80% discounts. 60, 70, 80% discount. Now, if that isn't a hidden bargain, I don't know what is. Now, where are they going to happen? They're going to happen in your county and in every county in the United States. Now, I know what you're saying to yourself. You're saying, Ted, this is too good to be true. Well, don't tell your friends because they won't believe you anyway. But here I'm to tell you, these properties are sold 60, 70, 80. I've even had some of my students get 90% discounts, and there's no loan on the property. So if you are in the east, that means there's no mortgage. If you're in the south or the west, it means there's no deed of trust. That's what the loan document there is. The point is, I was in shock. You're going to be in shock. The government has tons of properties, and now every county in the United States. So that means 3,000 counties are selling properties. There'll be at least 5,000 of those auctions this year. Nobody else even knows about it. So anybody can go to these auctions. So when I showed up at the auction, and this woman, who was a county employee, is just auctioning off properties, the auction was going so fast, it was going click, click, click. If you snap your fingers, and it was going about 200 miles an hour. This auction, I couldn't even keep up with it. But I was surprised when I saw this woman selling properties for 10 cents, 20 cents, and 30 cents on the dollar. Think about what I just said. There she was. She didn't care. She just worked for the county. All she wanted to do was get the property off the default list and back on the tax roll. So she sold the property to the highest bidder with no mortgage and no trust deed on the property. You could be buying those properties. You want hidden bargains? There's a hidden bargain for you. So is that employee pushing it down your throat like an auctioneer? Absolutely not. They're just standing there selling those properties. An hour later, the next county employee will come and do the same thing. So you want to find hidden bargains? Well, we're talking about hidden real estate bargains, not only at government auctions, but in every county across the United States. I have clients, not unusual for them to get a $50,000 home with someone that was living in it for $5,000 or $6,000 at one of these auctions. All right, now I'm going to finish up in a minute, but before I do that, I'm going to take 2 questions. My preference is to tell you to buy a residential lot because everybody else won't bid on it, and then resell it and learn how to do the business by buying a residential lot. You'll probably buy it for pennies on the dollar, $2,000 or $5,000. It might be worth $25,000 or $40,000. All right, whereas if you buy a house, there's nothing wrong with that. You'll make just as much profit, or probably more. However, does it need to be fixed up? Are you going to be able to rent it? Do you know how to sell it? Have you really learned how to do the business? So I say start small and then build yourself up. This business is a business of abundance. It'll always be here. It's been here for 200 years. Anybody that has the money can bid at a tax auction. However, I would tell you, make sure you have the money for the bid. Do not bid if you don't have the full money to pay for it, because the sheriff will visit you right then and there, because it's illegal to bid at an auction and not have the money. So pay attention to the rules of the auction. And I'm going to finish up right now by telling you there's 2 big problems at auctions. So I'll tell you the 2 big mistakes so you know ahead of time. Big mistake number 1 is people show up at the auction. They start bidding, raising their hand, they're bidding. They've never looked at the property. What if there was a fire? What if there was a flood? What if the building had some kind of crisis happen, like a windstorm, and blew all the windows out? I don't know what could have happened, but when you buy at an auction, the sale is final. So you want to make sure that you've looked at the property. Second big problem people have at auction is another bad one, and this one is much the same. People bid and they don't know what the selling price is. So you don't want to bid on any property until you know the price you can sell it for. So if you know the exit strategy, go ahead and bid. That'll keep you from bidding too high. Some people just keep bidding and they go right past the price. So you could overpay for the property. They're going to take your money, I can assure you of that. So I'm Ted Thomas.